the projects that are in the pipeline for planning board, we have 9 or 10 that have already submitted applications. A lot of them do have to deal with marijuana. So they're different projects that have been approved before. They're coming back for modifications, growing. There's a storefront, and the largest scale production facility that is coming to Berwick. At a certain point, there will be a cutoff because the town of Berwick has capped the number of marijuana establishments. And we have a whole other range from a large solar project to the funeral home is still pending, and we have other ranges. We have a homesteading project where it's just a sawmill and someone wants to do poultry and things like that. So it's a relatively small scale project, and yeah, I mean those are the key. So there's 9, and then we expect that are more coming, but with virtual planning board right now, we're able to handle about 3 applications per meeting, and that gets us to we like to keep our meetings to about an hour to an hour and a half, keep things going, keep things flowing well, and maybe with the social distancing being relaxed, we might be able to be a little bit more creative and maybe start meeting in person, but that's to be determined. So there's one coming in the commercial industrial, Shoreland Commercial Industrial District. That's off of 2 Bow Street, and that was permitted as Williams Greenery LLC. Our understanding is that they're trying to change their name, and how that. I mean, that's small details, but they're a medical marijuana storefront, and that's the only establishment that will be downtown, and it's only a medical storefront, though there's never going to be any growing downtown. The next area is in the R3 zone, and that is 398 School Street. That's Raymond Place, and that's a fairly large marijuana facility that was permitted under agriculture before we had zoning. And over the time, they wanted to add buildings, and we were able to bring them into the process. And they did some stormwater analysis to make sure that with the impervious surface and the buildings, we were also able to work with them on their lighting, some of the screening and issues, some of the building issues. So that one is 398 School Street, and that's the only one that's in R3 right now. It's in R3 with frontage on Route 9. Now for Route 4, that is in the RCI zone. Starting from 357 Portland Street, that one is Kind Farms. That's permitted as a medical marijuana storefront that will soon go to recreational or adult use. They'll be coming in for a permit for marijuana production. Across the street is the Pond Road project, and that is a public hearing is coming the first Thursday in June, and that one's just a marijuana production facility. There's another one going that has submitted an application a little further up the street. And then 420 Portland Street is another medical marijuana facility that was permitted before we had it defined. And we've proposed to relax our ordinance as a way to, since they're already producing marijuana, to have them come from in front of planning board, and then the planning board can weigh conditions, whether it's screening or they want to see the facade on the building. Going up a little further is 513 Portland Street, and they technically have 3 marijuana businesses where they're doing medical, adult use, and they have some processing. At the very end of Portland Street is Straight Fire Farms. They were just permitted, and they have a storefront and growing as well. There's another one on Route 236, which was in the RCI zone, and that's Silver Therapeutics, and that is just a storefront. And I mean, that's an incredible amount of anything. I mean, I think even if it was any type of use of that much is concerning, just to see so much of one use. It's been a learning experience for the board, for staff. The market inevitably is going to bring things to some homeostasis at some point. That's inevitable. But for the town, we have licensing that will ensure that the applicants stay compliant. And a lot of these new buildings is a lot of property taxes for the town, where 398 School Street is assessed at almost the same as downtown Berwick. And it's not all about money, but the biggest concern that our residents have is property taxes. The most we can do to offset those property taxes, that's one of the things in our power that we can do. But with the land use ordinance, we want to make sure that we're protecting the neighbors. So there's all the nuisances are mitigated as much as possible. The question is on the Pond Road project. It's a contentious issue, and that's understood because it's a commercial use. It's a marijuana production facility that's in a beautiful neighborhood. So that's really the crux of the issue, and that's why we have a land use ordinance is to help with these issues where otherwise. Back before we had zoning in 1990, we didn't have zoning. So if a business wanted to come in, there was no process. So they're marijuana facilities that are coming into someone's backyard. And when that happens, the planning board has certain mechanisms to protect the neighbors, whether that's screenings, different conditions. That's why it's a conditional use. The solar array is a local business owner, LRB Leasing. That's Les Bodwell. He's done a couple of the recent multifamily developments in town. And the way that it happens is for solar to be commercially viable, you need about 10 to 15 plus acres of contiguous land to have your solar array. And that is a sizable amount of clean, renewable energy. This is another one of those examples of, with this type of scale of a project going in where it is in a transitional residential zone, that it'll be in front of the planning board. And with these applications, within the Berwick land use ordinance, it has to meet every performance standard. It goes A through Z of all kinds of different boxes that every application must check. And those are things that are voted on in the findings of fact. So it has to meet the land use ordinance, which are boiled down from the town's comprehensive plan. We have a couple different storage facilities that are interested in expanding. PK Storage, they'll be on the planning board agenda for May 7th. And then Berwick Storage is, which is right next to, HP Cycles. They're also looking to expand. And the big thing with the storage facilities, it's impervious surface, so it goes from either gravel or grass to this facility and then the roads that go to it. So these projects have a lot of environmental permitting that they go through, which is engineered, and Civil Consultants is handling those. And I've been working with Neil from Civil on both of those projects. So Great Falls Construction, they have been following a timeline that they've laid out. So there's no applications pending yet, although they are ramping up their efforts. And that includes that they're looking to hire. They're very conscientious of wanting to hire local contractors, builders, architects, to add people to their team, and just to add the people that work with their hands and to get involved with the prime development. So the contact information can be found on the town's website. It's Great Falls Construction. They're out of Gorham. And I think below me, maybe, or right here, we can put the phone number and Julie's email if you're interested. So they have some working concepts already. They've had them for a little while, and I've been pretty disciplined not asking for them because I know it's early. So once they have, they're gonna develop a couple parallel concepts, maybe 2 different directions, and once they're ready to share, hopefully that's June for the next community forum. That's when we'll start seeing those concepts. If I were to take an educated guess on when they anticipate going to planning board, we'll probably see more of those details shake out in the fall, and maybe they're in front of planning board mid to late fall.